Welcome to Four Good Stories, where we each talk about four good stories that we find in the news headlines this week to bring a little more positivity to your weekend. My name is Addison.
And I'm Corinne. For Good is proudly brought to you by Hope for Good, a free subscription service supporting families of children with cancer and other critical illnesses through monthly care packages filled with toys and other items catered to the children's likings.
We found so many good stories this week, and we can't wait to share them with you. So, first story. A homeless man in Seattle is being celebrated after helping recover stolen keepsakes connected to a family's late dog, and the act of kindness completely changed his own life in return. The man, Chris, found a bag that had been dumped in an alley. Inside were several sentimental items, including the ashes of a chihuahua named Tia, whose memorial belongings had been stolen from a couple's car days earlier. After spotting flyers posted around the neighborhood, Chris connected the items to their owners and personally returned them. The couple, Holly and Brandon, were overwhelmed. Tia had been a beloved family pet, and they believed the ashes were gone forever. Chris didn't ask for money, he just simply wanted to do the right thing. But after hearing his story, community members started an online fundraiser to help Chris get back at his feet. Donations have quickly climbed to the thousands now when we checked at $5,600, allowing him to move into stable housing for the first time in years and begin rebuilding his life alongside his own dog, Rio. It's one of those stories that reminds people how powerful just simple acts of honesty can be, especially from someone who has so little. It's probably so easy, if you're already likely having a bad day or you find someone's stuff, to just walk past it, to not really think any further of it. But I feel like that really is God or some type of divine intervention to help get him back on his feet, because I think he really deserved that second chance.
I can't believe $5,600 has been raised for him.
I know.
That is incredible.
The world works, I think, in specific ways to help the right people get to where they need to go.
Yep. Okay. My next story is about an ice cream truck owner in central Massachusetts, and they are gaining national attention after a moment of kindness with a young customer went viral online. So, Maddie's Ice Cream and More is run by Maddie Silvagani, who says that she has always wanted to be an ice cream lady. During an unusual warm spring day, the temperature is nearing 80 degrees, a young boy approached his truck hoping to buy ice cream, but quietly admitted he had no dollars. Instead of turning him away, Maddie immediately told her staff to call the boy back and give him a cone anyway. Witnesses said that the child had already started walking away upset when Maddie stopped him and handed him ice cream with extra toppings and sprinkles. The interaction was captured on video and later posted online, where it quickly received hundreds of thousands of views. Maddie says the philosophy behind her business is simple: kindness is always free. She explained that children are never turned away from her truck because they can't pay. You want an ice cream from Maddie? You get an ice cream from Maddie, she told reporters. The viral attention sparked a wave of support from viewers and local community members. Fans began sending donations through Venmo and PayPal, often contributing small amounts like $10 or $20 at a time. Those donations eventually became what Maddie now calls the No More Tears Fund, a community-supported fund that helps provide free ice cream to kids throughout the summer. Maddie said the response surprised her because she viewed the original interaction as just a normal act of compassion. But supporters said the moment resonated because it showed a business owner putting kindness ahead of profit. One community member, Allison, said she hoped someone would show her own child the same compassion if they were ever in that situation. The truck now continues its regular routes around Gardner and nearby Hubbardston, where they are also booking birthday parties, graduations, and private events. But thanks to one little boy with no dollars, Maddie's message has spread far beyond Massachusetts. No child should have to walk away from ice cream truck in tears. I watched the video that went viral online. It has 639,000 views.
Wow. See, that's what I was thinking, is that I think is really important to remember, is that this was one instance of kindness that was caught on camera. So just imagine how many how much kindness is going on in the world around you that isn't caught on camera or doesn't get publicized. So it's always good reminders that there's always a lot more good in the world than we think.
Yeah. And that we see.
My next story, which I think is kind of a good segue from your story, is we're kind of beat down right now by, I would say, just like corporations, and everything's so expensive and everything costs more money and everything costs money. So I think your story and then this story just brings me a lot of joy because it shows kind of a positive side of that.
Yeah.
So my story, a growing trend across the South is turning ordinary driveways into tiny bakeries built entirely on trust. They're called honor system bakeries, small roadside stands where people sell homemade bread, cookies, cinnamon rolls, pies, pastries without any cashier or employee present. Customers simply pick what they want and leave cash in a lockbox or pay electronically through apps like Venmo. The entire business model runs on honesty. One of the bakers featured in the Sierra Hall of Virginia, who started experimenting with sourdough recipes in her apartment after high school. In 2024, she created her own sourdough starter and began leaving loaves in a cooler at the end of her driveway. That eventually evolved into a full self-serve bakery stand called Wise Co. Sourdough. Her stand now regularly sells out and has attracted more than 50,000 followers on TikTok who track her weekly restocks. Another baker, Alexandra of Farm Stand 382 in Georgia, originally started baking with her 5-year-old daughter as a summer learning project. She wanted to teach her daughter baking, gardening, counting money, and entrepreneurship, but the project grew so quickly that it eventually replaced her full-time job and became a family business. Cindy Royster, who runs Hackle Barney Bake Stand, says baking is deeply tied to Southern culture and family traditions. Friends first encouraged her to sell baked goods to help fund mission trips, and over time she built a loyal customer base through her roadside stand. The bakery owners say the concept works because it creates a sense of community and connection. Hall described it as radical accessibility, saying anyone from an elderly grandmother to a young child can stop by comfortably. Sinclair says visiting the stand has become part of many families' weekend routines, adding that the experience matters just as much as the baked goods themselves. These honor system businesses reflect a broader return to slower, more personal ways of living, especially in small southern towns where trust and hospitality are still seen as essential values. It's just so cool that these, not necessarily like young, but like smaller entrepreneurs, these small CEOs, just have so much trust in their community to offer such a simple way of doing business, and it's really inspiring.
We have some of these in the town I grew up in, and me and my mom would always go to them, and we would get like honey, and some would sell like corn and flowers and bread like these people do, and it's just so good. Like you can tell they're all just very fresh, and they took their time making all of the things they're making, and we would always, put a little extra in the boxes.
It makes you want to be better. It's almost like this chain reaction, because we had the same experience. We were camping one time and we needed firewood, and there was just a sign that said like firewood $5 or whatever, and it was just like had a Venmo and a cash box, and we didn't have any cash, so I was like, make sure the Venmo like goes through, like please. Like I would hate to be that person, so it really does make you like extra cautious to be a good person in return.
Speaking of being a good person, my next story is about a teenage Chick-fil-A employee in North Carolina, and he is being praised nationwide after returning nearly $10,000 in cash he found abandoned in a restaurant bathroom. 18-year-old Jaden Cintron was on a break at a Chick-fil-A in Kingston when he walked into a men's restroom and discovered 2 white envelopes lying on the floor near a toilet. One envelope, labeled from First Citizens Bank, contained $5,000. The second held another $4,333, bringing the total to about $10,000 in cash. He said his first reaction was disbelief. Instead of pocketing the money, he immediately brought the envelopes to the restaurant human resources department so management could try and locate the owner. The Chick-fil-A team reviewed security footage while local police worked to identify who had lost the cash. A few days later, the rightful owner came forward and reclaimed the money. The owner offered the boy $500 rewards for his honesty, but the teenager initially refused it several times. He explained that he didn't want to do it for recognition or money, saying his Christian faith guided his decision. That's not what Jesus would have done, he said, when he asked why he returned the cash. He also told reporters money is useless without character. Eventually, after repeated encouragement, he accepted the reward. Restaurant owner Paul publicly praised the employee, calling his actions an example of true integrity and saying real leadership means doing the right thing when no one is watching. Kingston Police Chief Keith Koyeta also commended Cintron, noting that many people might have taken the money and disappeared. The story quickly spread online because many people saw it as a rare example of honesty in a situation where nobody could have known if the money had disappeared. For him, though, he said the choice felt simple. He just wanted to do what was right. If you had 2 envelopes filled with that much money, I don't know. Never mind.
That's exactly how I feel anytime I even have like $20 in cash in my pocket. I'm like,
constantly
what if I
checking.
just drop this? What if I lose this?
Oh my gosh, but he is such a kind person for turning it in. Would you have turned it in?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I would
too.
have really not wanted to because that's like a crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
But I would have. But it almost made me tear up when he was like, that's just what you do.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what Jesus wouldn't have pocketed the money.
Heck no. Yeah.
I love it.
Good guy.
Awesome. My next story is something that I think is really cool. I'm a big advocate for a better healthcare system because even personally, there are so many times where I've neglected like seeing a doctor because of fear of the cost. And oh my gosh, it's going to make me emotional. Thinking about how many people are probably in the same boat that are struggling or have even lost people in their lives because of the barrier to access to healthcare.
Yeah.
So a really cool story is Mexico is preparing to launch a major overhaul of its healthcare system by promising free universal healthcare for all citizens beginning next year. President Claudia Sheinbaum has called the plan a historic step aimed at reducing inequality in the country of roughly 120 million people. The reform would replace Mexico's long-criticized two-tier healthcare structure, where wealthier residents often rely on private insurance while lower-income citizens depend on overcrowded public hospitals and clinics. The new system is designed to create a single national healthcare model with coverage available to everyone regardless of income or employment status. Elderly citizens have already begun enrolling ahead of the broader rollout. A key part of the proposal focuses on improving efficiency rather than dramatically increasing spending. Officials say the government plans to modernize the system through digital medical records and centralized administration in hopes of cutting waste and reducing delays. Still, critics question whether the plan can succeed without significantly more funding. Mexico currently spends far less on healthcare than most members of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and experts warn hospital and staffing shortages could become obstacles. Supporters, however, see the proposal as a dramatic shift away from the more fragmented, employment-based system seen in countries like the United States. Science writer Maha Andre described it as a possible move toward a more unified public health care model similar to systems in Canada, the United Kingdom, and other parts of Europe.
I can't imagine how, like, say the United States did something like this, how that would help, like, the families in our program. Because they talked, or when they leave the feedback, so many of them are like, the medical bills just pile up and pile up and pile up. And, like, the toys we send out brings them so much joy, and that's just, I mean, I don't know,
because a big thing
I just wish we could do something like that.
Is one, I mean, there's two options. Your child heals and you still have all this weight, from this really hard, this traumatic time in your life, or even worse, that family member passes and you still
yeah.
have to pay and kind of re-experience that. So this is life-changing for Mexico, and I really hope it inspires something better here in the United States.
I hope so. Okay, my next story. Scientists in Australia have uncovered rare new fossils from an ancient platypus species that once had a mouth full of powerful teeth, offering new insight into one of the world's strangest mammals. The discovery was made in the remote South Australian outback east of the Flinders Ranges by researchers from Flinders University. The fossils belong to a platypus in the old times. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. The oldest known platypus species, which lived around 25 million years ago during the late Oligocene period.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. That's how you say it. Unlike today's platypus, which loses its tiny teeth shortly after birth and chews food using hard pads in its bill, this ancient ancestor had fully developed premolars and molars. Researchers say the animal likely used its large pointed front teeth and heavy molars to crush prey with shells or hard exoskeletons, using freshwater okay, these ancient words, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to say them. So, we're going to keep going. Dr. Aaron Kamens called the discovery especially important because platypus fossils are extremely rare and are often limited to isolated teeth or bone fragments. Before this find, scientists only had a few partial remains of, the platypus species, including 1.5 molar teeth, part of a jaw, and a pelvis fragment. The newly discovered scapula, or shoulder bone, also revealed that ancient platypus swam in a way very similar to modern platypuses.
Sorry. I can't stop thinking about it's is it platypuses or is it like platypi? I don't know why.
I don't know.
I had to get that out there.
Okay.
I don't have internet, or I look it up.
So, the scapula proved that old platypus swam very similar to platypi now, though it was slightly larger and far more heavily toothed. Platypi. Okay. Anyway. Researchers say the fossils paint a vivid picture of what Central Australia looked like millions of years ago.
Terrifying.
Horrible. The region once contained huge lakes, slow-moving rivers, and rainforests filled with koalas, possums, giant birds of prey, freshwater fish, lungfish, marsupials, and even a small freshwater dolphin. Aw, didn't know that was a thing. Professor Trevor Worthy also co-authored the study published in the journal Australian Zoologist, said the ecosystem has long disappeared, but platypuses have continued surviving in Australian waterways ever since. The fossils were uncovered during long-running expeditions by Flinders University researchers, who have spent more than 2 decades studying the ancient fossil beds. Out of more than 1,000 vertebrate fossils discovered in the area, only 3 belonged to the toothed platypuses, making the find especially rare and valuable to scientists studying mammal evaluation. Gotta say, didn't know platypuses were alive back then.
That's crazy to think of them as like these big, terrifying creatures too. When my only knowledge of
Harry.
Yeah. Perry the platypus. I was him for Halloween this year.
Oh my god, you were. That's right. Platypus. That was a very interesting story.
I like that one.
Me too.
Okay, my last story is not one that I found in the news, but one that I actually got to experience and be part of. So every May, so if you don't know, Amazon's headquarters are in Seattle. So every May, throughout their different buildings, they have I don't remember exactly what they call it, but it's like the month of volunteering, basically. So they bring in all these nonprofits, and you can just set up different ways for Amazon employees to help. So we got to fly down there, and not only did we set up our own event, but we got to help with other events. So we helped with 2 other organizations make hygiene bags, and these were for underprivileged kids and families in the YMCA programs in Seattle, as well as another organization. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll put a photo of it on there. And we made tons of hygiene kits for them to give out during disasters. So it was really fun getting to work alongside other volunteers and all these Amazon employees that I got to talk to while we made these hygiene kits. But we also flew down 80 recycled dog beds, and the Amazon employees got to help us stuff them with recycled material and create 80 new recycled dog beds. And they had so much fun. If you don't know, Amazon employees can take their dogs to work. So it's so funny, like, all these dogs coming in, like, testing the beds and getting to just hang out with the dogs while we made the beds. It was super fun.
Did the dogs like them?
There was one dog, he was really old, and as soon as they put the dog, or the bed on the floor, the dog was like, okay, this is mine now. So it was really cute. Any of the employees that did have dogs got to take their dog bed, so that was really fun. And a lot were sent out for donation as well. Other than the dog beds, Amazon purchased over 80 toys for our Hope for Good program, and we actually got to send out an extra toy this month to 80 of our kids that Amazon provided, and their employees got to write notes of encouragement, shop, pack, and fill these monthly care packages like we do here, but we got to do it at the Amazon facility, and they were all sent out from Seattle.
Did they have fun?
Oh my gosh, they had so much fun. It was such a popular event. We ran out of like things to do really quick, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, like, can we like just package another one and send them all like two?" People really enjoyed it, and then after all of the gifts were gone and we had sent all of them, packaged them up and got them ready to ship, they were like, "Can we write more letters? Like, can we write letters to other kids that you guys can use in the future?" So it was really just a heartwarming experience, and we had such a good time.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Someone had to hold down the fort here.
Dang it. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to talk about, me and Addison have really loved sharing stories that get sent to us from families and kids in our Hope for Good program. So I'm going to share something William's mom shared with us. In August 2025, at the start of his senior year of high school, William was diagnosed with osteosarcoma in his left humerus. By November 2025, he underwent limb salvage surgery and received a metal prosthetic in his left arm. After weeks of recovery and many rounds of chemotherapy, we truly believed he was nearing the end of his journey with cancer. He had started to regain limited use of his arm and was looking forward to college and the future ahead of him. However, at the end of treatment in May 2026, we received the devastating news that the cancer had metastasized. Is that how you say it? Yep. To his lungs. Since then, William has struggled with allowing himself to feel hopeful or happy, fearing that it could be all taken away again. His dad shared, "Hope for Good has been such a meaningful blessing during this difficult time. The surprise packages provide moments of joy, distraction, and encouragement when he needs them most. Seeing him smile and feel remembered means more than words can express. Thank you for everything you do for my son and for families like ours." The picture, or the 2 pictures that they added with that story, we'll put them up on here, but we sent him a tablet that's also a DVD player, because I remember reading his thing, and he really likes to watch movies when he's in the hospital. So it makes me happy that made him happy.
That's such a sweet story. We also recently made the executive decision. At first, it was decided that the age group would be up to 18. And we just couldn't do it.
No.
There's so many of these kids.
Yeah.
They're still babies at 18.
Yeah.
So
we're keeping them in.
We'll see where the road lies ahead, but at this moment, they're not getting kicked out of this program.
No, we're keeping them in.
Finally, the best thing is that through our program, Hope for Good, 500 children with critical illnesses will receive a free care package this month to spread a bit of love to families going through so much. To learn more or donate, visit our website at forgoodcommunity.org/hopeforgood. We now have an Amazon wish list with specific items requested from children in the program. If you'd like to check that out, we'll have it linked below.
Those were this week's 4 good things. Until next time, keep looking for the good, and if you find any, feel free to share any feel-good stories to us at addison@forgoodcommunity.org for us to share on the podcast.
Make sure you're subscribed if you like the podcast. It really helps us out. And drop a comment with something good that happened to you this week.
Join us again next week to see how the world gets better 1 week at a time.
4 good stories, because the world has more good than we think.